Hi there, this is a video about adding and subtracting polynomials. Now what I first want to talk about is exactly what is a polynomial. And all that is an expression with two or more terms. Now one thing I do want to talk about here is what is a term, okay? So a term are things separated by plus and minus symbols, okay? So it's, these are things that we're going to talk about for probably the remainder of your math career, and we're introducing them now. So the best way for me to do this is to provide you with an example of what exactly is a polynomial. And a polynomial looks like this. Let's say you've got something like 4x to the fourth plus 3x cubed minus 7x squared plus 4x minus 8. Okay, and what I want you to notice here is that you have all of these different terms that are separated by the plus and minus symbols, okay? And typically we're going to be dealing with things that have more, with an exponent that is larger than 1. And so, in this case, we've got 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and all that stuff. So that's a polynomial. So what I want to talk about is simply just adding and subtracting these things. Because one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to operate with them. We're going to add, we're going to subtract, and we're going to multiply. And eventually we will start dividing, but there's a bunch of different ways where we can do that. And so it's really important that we understand the concept of adding and subtracting these things. So let's just jump right in and look at a couple of examples. Before we can do that, we want to look at what is the concept of combining like terms. And essentially, this is all we're going to be doing. But when I think about like terms, these are terms with the same variable raised to the same power, okay? So an example of like terms, all right, would be, say you had x squared, 3x squared, negative 8x squared, 22x squared, because all of these have the same variable raised to the same power. These are like terms, all right? So non-like terms, so an example of non-like terms would be something like this, where you had x cubed, negative 4x to the 4, 5, 7x squared. And notice the difference here. Notice how we have the same variable, but they're raised to different powers. And we can't combine those. We can only just show them as the sum or difference of those kinds of numbers. All right. So let's look at, what I do to combine like terms. All right. So let's actually combine the like terms of, say, 4x cubed plus 7x cubed. Now, all I'm going to do, the way to do this is to add the numbers out front and keep, that's a D, and keep the variable. Okay, so if I'm going to do this and combine these like terms, I'm simply going to look at the numbers 4 and 7. I'm going to add those together to give me 10, and then I'm just going to keep my x cubed. And that's how I combine those as like terms. All right, so in this example where I want to add these two polynomials together. So I've got this polynomial and I want to add this polynomial. All right, and so what I want to do is identify, well, what are my like terms? All right, so notice that I have a 3x to the fourth and a 2x to the fourth. I'm going to combine those as like terms. And again, I'm simply just going to add my numbers up front and keep the x to the fourth. So if I add 3 and 2 together, that's going to give me 5 and then x to the fourth. All right, the next one I've got is 7x cubed minus 3x cubed, okay? And since I'm adding them, I don't change any signs. I just combine my like terms with the signs that are shown. So 7 plus negative 3 gives me 4x cubed. All right, and then plus. All right, so now let's do negative 4x squared plus 5x squared. All right, let me underline that in this color. So negative 4x squared plus 5x squared. Negative 4 plus 5 is just 1. So I have plus 1x squared. All right, and you don't have to put that 1 there. I just showed that that's 1, but if you get rid of that and erase it and just have x squared, that indicates that your number out front is 1. Now, if I do, say, 2x minus 3x. Now, 2 minus 3 is negative 1, so this is going to give me a minus, and then just 1x, which is just x. And then 1 minus 9 is going to end up giving us just negative 8. And that's my answer. So the answer that we get is a polynomial itself. Okay, and that's how we would do that. All right, let's look at another example. And on this, I want to add these two polynomials together. Now notice I have 3 terms here and I have 2 terms here. Now also notice that I have x to the 7th and I don't see an x to the 7th around here. Notice how I have an x cubed, or I'm sorry, x squared, and I don't see an x squared here. And same thing with all these. None of these are like terms. So when I add them together, I'm simply just going to add them as 4x to the 7th, got that one, plus 5x to the 6th, got that one, plus 4x cubed, got that one, plus 3x squared, and then plus 2. And that's my answer. Now notice how I order these. Notice how when I order them, I start with my largest exponent, and I work my way down until I don't have a variable raised to an exponent. Okay, so you always want to make sure you put it in that form. All right, now let's look at subtracting polynomials. Now, if I'm subtracting polynomials, I've got one quantity, this entire polynomial, minus this entire quantity over here is this polynomial. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm subtracting one quantity from another. And here's the big thing that we're going to miss, is that we have to always, always, always distribute the negative. Okay, so what I mean by that is I'm going to distribute this negative into each of these terms into here. And I'm going to rewrite this. So I'm going to write my first polynomial as 3x to the 4th plus 7x cubed minus 4x squared plus 2x plus 1. And then each of my signs here are going to be flipped. So if I subtract 2x to the 4th, I'm going to subtract 2x to the 4th. If I'm subtracting a negative 3x cubed, I'm going to be adding 3x cubed. And then, so let's just follow that same concept. I'm going to subtract 5x squared, add 3x, and then add 9. Okay? And what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to now just combine my like terms as normal. So once I've distributed all these, all the signs in front of my terms here become the opposites. Notice how this 2x to the 4th has an opposite sign. 3x cubed has an opposite sign. 5x squared, opposite, opposite, and opposite. And now we just combine them as normal. So I'm going to take 3x to the 4th plus negative 2x to the 4th, and that's just going to give me just 1x to the 4th. All right. Let's do, we've got 7x cubed and 3x cubed. So let's combine those as like terms. And so 7 plus 3 is going to give us 10, and then x cubed. Okay. If I do negative 4x squared minus 5x squared, that's going to give us minus 9x squared. And if I do 2x plus 3x, that's going to give us plus 5x. And then 1 plus 9 is going to give us 10. All right, so 1 plus 9, that's going to give us positive 10. So we get a different polynomial whether we add or subtract them. Okay, and that's the idea. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's pretty simple. Just combine your like terms, distribute your negative, and simplify. See you in a bit. Bye!